I'm here with Craig Lipset from Pfizer, and Craig, thanks for stopping by Pharma 15 Live.
It's good to see you.
Let's talk about something that is very important to you: patient data ownership. What is it? What does it mean to you, and how do you think we can get better at it if you think we need to get better at it?
We don't even really know what it is by and large. I see a lot of people talking about patient data access as if that's ownership. Access is as if somebody else owned my house but just let me in once in a while. That's not ownership.
Right.
We're on a journey with patients from being able to access our data, being able to share our data where we want, transparency around being able to know who else is accessing our data, and all of those are still short of actually owning your data. And I really think about your house. If you have the ability to rent it out, you own it, right? And that's not where patients are with their data. There's still other people that just come and go occupying that house without them even knowing.
Yeah. Along those lines, one of the common misperceptions or what people say about our industry a lot is we're always behind the times. You see that a lot with our adoption of digital technologies, other technologies as well. I wonder if you actually think that that's true, that we are always behind the times, or maybe we're supposed to go a little slower, or maybe we're right where we need to be. What do you think?
We're always behind.
Yeah.
I do think that, but I wouldn't say that it's because of a lack of technology, and I wouldn't say that it's because of a lack of regulatory frameworks for us to do better. It honestly is culture that holds us back more often than not. We find ourselves locked into working with the same big tech partners over and over again, and while young, small people may try to get into that space, it's really hard to crack in. Case in point, look at all the folks that have tried to do better when it comes to ePro and eCOA, and yet with all the consolidation, there are really 2 or 3 big companies that everybody ends up working with.
And obviously the theme of disruptive, is disruptive innovations. What's something that, you've seen a little bit of today that is considered disruptive, but maybe you don't think is actually that disruptive?
I think that the term patient-centric is not disruptive. I think it needs to just be business as usual. And I think that's actually a compliment. If something is business as usual, we're not talking about it as some outside force that's going to change our industry. It's just how we behave and how we operate. And it's hard for me to think that today patient centricity is something new and novel that we should be thinking about like a disruptive force on us.
Obviously patient centricity was a big buzzword, for a while. Is it really patient centricity, or is it just enhancing the patient experience? Is there a little bit of a difference?
I think that we're still learning how to really think about patient experience. I think we're still really novices around experience, but there's huge opportunity for us around experience. To be honest, I do struggle with how does all this really separate from patient recruitment and retention. Are these really different things, or are we just adding new words to what we should have been thinking about all along when it comes to retention strategies, or listening to people that have been saying we have to rethink experience? But now it has people's attention. I think now they're just trying to figure out what do we do differently.
That's a good point. And what are you up to at Pfizer that you can share with us? What's kind of the new problem that you're trying to solve?
Well, you're hitting on a lot of them, and I have a great time working with Valerie and the team at DPharm on this event, on the agenda to make sure it really aligns to the things I care about. But for us right now, it's the very much less sexy story of scale. It's about how do we take these things, whether it's remote, decentralized, location-flexible trials, patients who are owning and sharing their data with us, all of these different concepts, how do we bring them in and actually stop talking about them as innovative outside opportunities, but really just a part of how we're scaling and growing as a company. We've put a lot of attention into our operations, and they're in a place right now where they're solid enough that we can disrupt and we can bring in the new and not crush the machine. So it's not really sexy to talk about, but it's where this has to go.
Yeah. And I know, final question, I know that you've been involved with DPharm since the beginning of it. Just talk a little bit about how much it's grown and how great it has been to see it grow.
You think? Do I think it's great to see it grow? No, you know what I've loved about it is to watch stories that were shared even 8 years ago,
Yeah.
and how those stories have grown and evolved over these 8 years, and then how we continue to fill the pipeline of innovation opportunities with the new.
Yeah.
8 years ago, we were talking about the remote trial. Miguel Ori from Pfizer was sharing what worked, what didn't work, the culture of trying to make that work, and now here we have Citi releasing recommendations on decentralized trials, and companies that are enrolling people in this room into a virtual trial on
Right.
the other side of the exhibit hall. So it's pretty amazing to see opportunities that have matured, and now how we continue to fill the hopper, whether it's blockchain talks or e-source talks or other things that are now starting to reach their stride.
Awesome.